I'm just getting everything set up. If you want to unmute yourself, that's cool if you want. That way, if you have any questions, either that or you can use the chat feature. I've got that pulled up too. So either way is fine. If you're getting ready, you need at least 1 cup of water, if not 2, because we'll need to use some water with the paint. You're going to need at least, let's see, 5 colors plus a white and a black. So I guess technically that's 7 colors, but we're going to be doing a rainbow type background with dandelions. I'm Janet, by the way. Hi.
Janet, did you say what colors you want us to be using besides white and black?
At least 5 colors. It's preferably going to be like a rainbow style color scheme, but if you want to use different colors, that's fine, just as long as there's about 5 colors besides the white and black.
Thanks.
No problem. This is my gel medium that I'm using to mix the colors together with so that they'll last a little longer, because acrylic paints dry pretty fast, so always good to have something keeping them fresh. And it helps if you don't get the paint in the white. So I'll have to mix some white again.
So should we be doing some mixing right now?
Yeah. Mix your gel medium with the colors that you picked for your color scheme. And be ye not as clumsy as me and mix the white accidentally with some red, because it's kind of like laundry. You may have to mix your colors multiple times during all of this, depending on how long, how far we're able to stretch it. Some paints will stretch further than others. So
Hey, Janet, is there a particular paintbrush we should be using?
no, you can use, we're going to be using like 2 particular brushes when we paint. Let's see, flat, like it's a flat brush, and then a liner brush. But when we're mixing, generally I use a palette knife because that will keep from damaging your brushes. But you can do it a few times with your brushes, or if you have really cheap brushes like me, you can do it all the time with your brushes. It's a good thing to get in the habit of using. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I wonder I couldn't find it. It was right next to it. And if you ever don't have black paint, if you mix your dark colors together, if you have some dark paints, you can mix them together until they turn black or turn a blackish shade. And that's actually a more natural looking black than black paint is. So that's a good a good tip to have in the future at least. And with the mediums, you just mix until the color is about the same color in the medium as it was before you added the medium, as long as you didn't taint it too much with your greens and blues and every other color that I am getting mixed in, because this palette knife is not washing off very well. It's okay, because the way that this is all going to go on is going to be kind of a mixture anyway, so we'll be blending the colors into each other on the canvas too, so it's all good if they get mixed. It's just kind of frustrating at first. So, when you're ready, just let me know. And okay. Kayla, are you ready to? Or do you need a little more time?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, good. First, we're going to start with some of our red, or the first color of your rainbow, which for me is a rose madder. Here, in this corner. It's okay if it goes on really fine. We can go back over it when it dries a little bit. And just keep pulling it down until you get all of it. And then we go back over a little bit with it, because you don't want to go back over it too much, because then it just becomes way too thin. And you can go as far over as you want. We're all going to have slightly different paintings anyway, because no two people make the same paintings. Even the same person cannot make the same painting twice. So. Then we'll go for our second color, which for me is green. And we're going to go next to it. Do the same. And with the blue, actually get enough blue on here. So we're going to grab yellow. Then go with my last color, which is a slightly more purplish tone of the red. Now, if you want, you can go back over these with just a wet brush or a plain brush and kind of blend them in together, but you don't have to do that. Next thing on the next row, we'll just go in with next color in this, which would be the green. Will go over here. Clear out. Helps if your brush doesn't shed during all of it. So go through here. Okay. Then clean the brush and get the blue. Yellow. Purpley red. And then our original red. We'll be cycling through the colors until we hit the bottom. By then, this row should be almost dry enough to go back over if you want. Now we can go back over our top paint and start kind of blending more and more in.
Are you just going over it with a wet brush or with more paint?
This time I'm going over it with more paint. Sorry. And as I try to go over some of the wetter paint, it'll possibly take over, or it'll probably possibly take up some of the paint. So you might not want to go over the bottom ones yet. I just want to go ahead and, oops, get mine covered a little better. I noticed I left a lot of little bitty white spots down here. I'm gonna trade out my blue for a different shade of blue. That should work. Perhaps the shade of yellow is the best choice, but I'm gonna go over it like this instead. Sometimes you just have to go completely undiluted. And if you're not having this problem, then it's not. Then I'm very proud because you're doing a better job than the teacher. So. Okay. We just need to let it dry a little bit. If you a sketchbook or a scratch sheet of paper, which I know I didn't tell you guys to get, so it's totally okay if you don't have it.
Could you repeat that again? You're a little hard to hear.
Oh, sorry. If we're gonna let this part dry, and then if you have a sketch piece of paper or a scratch piece of paper, I want to go ahead and show like what we're gonna do with the drawing that's gonna go on here that we're gonna paint onto it. So it's dandelions. So you'll need like a few little lines. We'll eventually draw this on here, and when we do, it's gonna screech like crazy because charcoal screeches. We're gonna draw lines and then we'll circle right here. And then we'll just take our white and we'll go out from here and draw little V's on the end. And we'll do that for each of these. And then we can draw little Y's going up and down and each way. But this will give you a good idea of what you're going to put on your canvas so that you can stay true to what you want your vision to be. And it doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to look like anybody else in the room. I know that some of you are working in a group, so. This will just allow you to be yourself on this. I encourage creativity. So. All right. It should start drying within a minute. And if you have any questions right now, I'd love to hear them. Maybe I can help.
On my canvas, my colors kind of blended a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Do you like the way it looks?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's the big concern. This needs to be something that you feel connected to and that you feel proud of. So
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Do you happen to have a picture of what we're trying to achieve?
Not with me right this second. It's actually on my phone, which is
Okay.
what I'm using to do this. So.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of a patchwork rainbow type thing, like background, and then with the dandelions coming up through it. So I meant to get a picture like specifically to show you guys of it, but next time
It's hard to envision.
What? Yeah. Combination of artist vision and unchecked ADHD. So sometimes I forget, which is not a good excuse for the Girl Scout. Be ye not like me. Checking to see which one of these is actually dry because some of it is and some of it's not. All depends on which part has the most slow drying gel in it. So. Which slow drying gel is great to like stretch the paint and give you longer time to work with it. But it can be a pain when you're teaching a class because most of my classes are not long enough to allow the paint to actually dry or the gel to dry. So we'll have to go back up through a little bit of wet paint, but it'll work. So
Do you ever suggest using a hair dryer?
That would be a good idea. Like if you have a hair dryer to work with, that would be a good idea. I've never tried it because I don't have one. So, but yeah, that would be good. I'm going to go ahead and draw my lines up through here, and I apologize if it's going to squeak like crazy. You may not be able to see your lines completely when you do these, but that's okay if you don't see the actual black. It will pull up enough of the paint so that you're actually able to see where you're going to be going. You don't have to draw every single thing that you're going to do, just kind of give yourself an idea of which way you're going. I'm going to go ahead and take my black paint and my liner brush. And pull up through here and pull down through here. And I may have to do this a couple of times to get it the right consistency and color. Over the very end of the dandelions with the paint, the dark paint. See, it's supposed to be black, but I accidentally got the white paint in it. Now, on the little Ys that are coming off from the dandelions, remember not to do the very ends with the black, just like the tip of this part that connected to the flower itself, because that is the only part that's dark on them. If you want, you can go back in later and add more to the actual flowers or to the sky. But I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the ones I did go ahead and draw so that I have a reference of them in the painting. Just draw a little. They don't have to be as easily distinguishable on the flower itself because we're going for the overall look on the flower. My brush some. None of this has to be absolutely perfect. I like to say that nothing in nature is perfect, so we don't have to be perfect. At this point, I'm just going through and adding in the rest of the circles and adding little violets up in the sky. That's a little big, but that's okay. Go back over this line some more. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm just fixing some of the spots where the paint's not completely covered. And do the little flowers that are in the seeds going off. If they're really tiny, just dot the dark paint on. If they're bigger, then you can make it bigger, but try to keep it kind of in perspective. You can. If you make them big, it's still okay. Like I said earlier, the big thing is if you're okay with what you've done, then that is what's important on this. I'm gonna add something in, and you don't have to add it in. This is just something I feel like I want to do. It's going to be some little ones in the background that are not going to be as detailed. Because I'm not even doing Ys because they're off in the distance. Just accidentally dropped a huge piece of paint on there, but sometimes. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
That's good. Do you have any more questions yet so far?
The gel medium, are there different types of gel medium? I think when I first went to the store, I was a little confused about making sure I was getting the right one.
Yeah, there are. They're all very similar as long as it's like made for acrylic paint, then it's fine. But
Okay.
there are slow drying ones, there are glossy ones, there are mattes. They all do about the same thing. It's just about prolonging the time you have to work with the paint. But for the most part, there's not a lot of difference like in what they do. It's mainly in how long they give you and what the finish is overall. But they're basically just about prolonging things so that you have enough time to get it done without wasting a lot of
Great.
paint. So,
Okay.
I'm sure you've noticed like some of your paint's probably a lot more dry than others, depending on how much gel was in it and how long it's been on your painting. And the less medium there is, the faster it's going to dry. So I did not know that for a long time until a friend of mine taught me. So I was just like, why is my paint always drying so fast? And so it's a good thing to learn when you're first starting than to like learn years in. So I try to include it. And again, I'm just like touching up little things on mine. So and when you're happy with your painting, if you don't want to do anything else to it, you can do your little initials down in the right hand corner. Or would you mind? And it's good to put a year so that you know when you did it. And if you can't read it, like I can't read mine. And the kind of canvas panel that I use, you can also do that on the back here. I can do this screen without getting it on my. And you can fill in the title, the artist, the medium, date, and signature. I know some brands don't have that on the back. Michael's, so it does. Spend a lot of time in Michael's. But there, if there's anything you want to add to it that I haven't gone over, we can see about doing that now. Like if you want to try, or I can keep answering questions. We kind of finished earlier than I was anticipating. So there's also a thing where you can go back over everything with a light layer of paint called a glaze. If you want to do that, I can show you. You take like this is copper. It's hard to. And much. That's wet. Go over it like this. And it doesn't leave a lot of paint on, but it gives it little hints. Will pull some of the wet paint. That is one thing you have to be careful with. A little bit like that. And I would go back over the little parts that got a little destroyed. This part. And over here. King dot. I have to re-sign it. It's kind of messy on screen, but it's actually really nice in person. So Thanks. The first time I've ever taught this from home, so I was a little nervous. If you've finished and you don't have any questions, you can log out if you want. But I enjoyed teaching all of you. And if you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them in the next like half hour or so. So just whatever you guys want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Teaching.
Hope you guys all have fun. Yay.